What's up, guys? Welcome along to United Daily on All for United. If you're watching somewhere right now that isn't our YouTube channel, come and jump across to youtube.com/All for United. We've got your chance to win some lovely apparel from Football Town over the coming weeks as we race towards 3K. So come and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, if maybe you can't catch all the show right now with our great guests, why not check us out on Spotify and your favorite podcast platform? Search up All for United or United Daily and check out the audio form of this show, because it's going to be up there as soon as we have finished live. Right, two great guests today, John Gubba and Dale O'Donnell from Stretty News. Guys, I thought today we've covered Liverpool. Everyone's spoken about it. We spoke about Ollie and Lampard and the effect of management yesterday as well with Al Foran. So I thought today we'd take it back to basics. Let's talk about some transfer news, because I don't know if you've seen, John, but Fabrizio has come out and said that we are expecting potential imminent departures at Manchester United. It looks like Rojo and Lingard are going to be on their way this month. First of all, John, your reaction to that. Is the time right now for Lingard and Rojo to depart?
I think the time's right. I mean, we always listen to Fabrizio, of course. I mean, I did hear on Sky Sports last night that Lingard might be being priced out of a move to West Ham. But I mean, that's all I know. I'm not on Fabrizio's. I don't have his network of information, so it's really speculation. But I think Jesse deserves to get some game time, and I think it'd be good for him to go out on loan. I don't think he'd want to go on a permanent transfer, but who knows? I mean, it's difficult. I can't see him getting away back into the United team at this point in time. The squad is getting so strong, and I think we're now starting to see United's squad as being a lot stronger than people realised. And Jesse's going to have to go elsewhere to get some game time, I think.
Yeah, I think absolutely spot on. Dale, before we talk in the ins and outs of these potential moves, just quickly, your reaction to Fabrizio tweeting that Lingard and Rojo are set to be on their way this month?
Yeah, I think for Lingard, it's obviously sad for any young player that's come through the academy and then is hoping to get into that first team, and never quite worked out for Lingard. And it's obviously difficult to leave then. We all think of football as just transfers in and out, but it's a lot more to that, to these people's lives. Lingard's grown up in Manchester, and it's probably looking now at a loan move to see what his future holds. John mentioned there that he needs games. He needs lots of games. He hasn't played much this season. He's been, I wouldn't even say, on the fringes. And it's, for his own sake, you want to see him in the top flight, whether it's West Brom or West Ham, and playing every week.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you there. I think it's a sad one, isn't it? As you say, a Manchester lad, a guy who clearly is passionate and loves the club. But obviously, when it comes to ability, John, you say that how good our squad is. You just can't see a route back into this squad with Jesse Lingard, especially with Amad Diallo coming in and apparently absolutely wowing everyone. The squad, the staff, everybody. Guys, get in a live chat. What have you made of Jesse Lingard's Manchester United career? 1, and 2, what do you make of him going on loan? Do you think potentially he can go on loan to somewhere like West Ham and prove a point? Before we ask that question to John, I just want to read out something that Simon Stone tweeted quickly before we came live on the BBC. He said that apparently Man United won a loan fee from West Ham or anyone else this January for Jesse Lingard. David Moyes is pursuing him and wants him to become a West Ham player, but he already has 2 loan players, so that also needs to change. So it seems like there needs to be some filtering here. Dan, we're going to come and talk to you a little bit more about the deal in a second. But John, first of all, you said there you can't really see him getting into this squad, but say, for instance, he goes out on loan. Do you think Jesse Lingard's going out on loan to play for a move in the summer, or do you think he's going out on loan to play for a place in next year's United squad?
I think in his heart, Jesse's playing, hoping to get back into United squad, because he's very much a United fan, and as Dale said, he's grown up with United. So I think Jesse doesn't want to cut the link, and I think West Ham would be a good move for him, because I think it might be right in saying that David Moyes gave him his debut for Man United, and he certainly had a good relationship with David Moyes. So I think West Ham would be a good club for him, and I think it would be certainly put him back in the shop window, and it show us what he can do, because it's not so long ago that Jesse, of course, was kind of a key player for England. So he's got his England career to think about. So he does really need to be playing games, and I think West Ham would be a good move for him. Obviously, I don't want him to play against United in the FA Cup, because we know what ex-players do against former teams. So, I think Jesse would like to go on loan, and I think United probably being a little bit mercenary, probably asking too much money for him to go out on loan. That's kind of what I've heard in between on the grapevine kind of thing.
Yeah, I think ideally, Dale, United would probably want to sell. Lingard this month, wouldn't they, if they potentially could? So that might be why they're looking for a loan fee. But just quickly on the fact that West Ham already have a couple of loan players, and then potentially need to get rid of one of those to bring Lingard in on loan. It doesn't look like a permanent move can actually happen this month, so that's why the loan seems the most obvious point of view. Do you think this deal seems actually still quite tricky to pull off this month? Because it does seem like there's a few hurdles that we need to jump through here.
Well, it does, because it seems that they're looking for that loan fee as well, which I'm sure between now and the end of the transfer window, if someone seriously wants Lingard, they will pay it. You have West Brom in the mix too, and Allardyce obviously looking for that bit of quality in the final third. He has a team there that's could be relegated this season. He needs an injection of something. So if you have 2 or 3 teams there that are seriously interested in the player, I'm sure United will get that fee, and those stumbling blocks, they'll be overcome. I think my own perspective right now and what I just want to see Lingard playing football. You never want to see a footballer at the age of 28 who's fit, who's not necessarily injured, not playing and not being anywhere near the team. I'm not saying that he should be near the team. That goes to show how far we've come in the past 2 years, that we're bringing the likes of Donny van de Beek into a starting lineup and resting Bruno Fernandes. That's such a step forward. United have just gone that way now. And unfortunately for Lingard, because he's someone who's been with us for a lot of tough times in recent years, he now has to, face reality that he isn't good enough for this Manchester United team. And we're progressing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it shows our progress as a squad to the fact that, Jesse Lingard now can't be seen within it, because I think we've always said about Jesse Lingard, yeah, he's an ideal player maybe to have in and around the squad, but he shouldn't be starting for Manchester United. And that's always been the question about his ability. And now we're in a potential situation to let him go. I sort of feel sad, as you said, because he's a Manchester lad. He always gave his all for the club. You can never question that. He's been through the hedge backwards over the last couple of years by the sounds of it as well, with personal issues and a lot going on in his life. Just speculative, guys, because I think it's really interesting that we're hunting for a loan fee for a 6-month loan deal. I've never really heard of that. Have you guys ever heard of that? I've never really heard of something like that going on. Maybe behind the scenes that's not made public, but the fact that that's being made public is, to me, quite a new thing.
Here's the new trend. It's in COVID season.
Yeah. It's called the COVID loan fee for a 6-month loan. But how much? Like, I know it's speculative, but how much for a player's services for 6 months? I mean, I know you hear about a couple of million, for a whole year, but John, for 6 months, maybe, for all we know, this could be maybe an 18-month loan, because Jesse still has another 18 months. Has he got 18? He's got an option for a year extension on top of his 6 months, hasn't he? I think that he's got left. I'm not 100% on that. I think that's the case. So potentially, could it be that United are looking to ship him out of the club before his contract expires? John, I'm being speculative here. Can you make sense of it?
I can't make any sense of it at all. I think United shouldn't really be asking for a loan fee, but as Dale says, I think it's becoming quite the norm, to be honest. I think loan fees can be fairly big. I can't remember what the figure is for Gareth Bale, for example, at Spurs, but I know they're paying quite a lot of money for Gareth Bale. So I think loan fees are becoming the norm. But I think in Jesse's case, he's earned the right to go and play football somewhere. So I'd like to see Jesse given the chance to go and play somewhere. And maybe they are thinking about a longer term deal. Obviously, as you've said, West Ham have got this problem that they've already got 2 players on loan. So maybe United really want to make a firm sale. So maybe that's kind of the leverage. Maybe they're asking for a fee, thinking that if West Ham are going to go for a fee, they'll want to go for a permanent signing. So it'd be sad to see Jesse go, but I think the reality is that United have moved on now, and we've got a much stronger squad. And even Donny van de Beek can't get in the team on a regular basis, and he's a quality player. But it just goes to show you really that the Premier League is such a different league. It's such a strong league compared to any other league in Europe. And as we've seen at Chelsea, they spent £226 million in the summer, but their players have not exactly hit the ground running. So I don't think it's a surprise that Donny is not getting in the squad. So I think when you start thinking about Jesse Lingard, he's a long way behind. So he really does need to go out on loan, and I hope he does.
Yeah, I know it's a good point, and there's some good points being made here in the comments about Jesse's wages. Brown Knight, I've seen your comment, and Southern Manx podcast. I think you've hit it bang on the money there in terms of why wouldn't we seek a loan fee, especially if we're paying a proportion of the wages. The fact is, we just don't know if we are going to be paying a proportion of the wages. You know, is he actually going to be going to West Ham and they're going to potentially cover his wages, or is it the fact that we're having a loan fee to help subsidise some of those wages? But all in all, Dale, again, it's that ever-riding problem with Manchester United and trying to get players out of the club. They're just on too fringe players are just on too much money, aren't they? That clubs like West Ham just simply can't afford to take them on. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I think there's a few clubs out there that are in this boat. You look at Barcelona too; all their players are highly paid players, and from the squad right around. It can make it difficult to move these players on, and you know we complain about it, but Manchester United are one of few clubs that kind of have I suppose the pleasure of complaining about it. Players want to stay at Manchester United. There's no other clubs really they want to go to. And that's obviously difficult for a club then to move them on. I guess it's just something that we're going to have to face up with. Lingard, you'd hope that he'd get a move to another Premier League club on a permanent basis, but he needs to go and prove that. You know, we're talking about what he's done at United and that he hasn't been good enough. West Brom and West Ham aren't going to be fully sure about him either. That's why it's a loan deal. And I think United should be looking at that as, you know, a chance for him to open a new chapter up in his career. I wouldn't be necessarily looking for money to get him that move. I'd be happy to see him elsewhere and getting minutes. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, and Dale, I completely agree. But then again, also people come in and say, well, let's not forget it's a business. And as a business, you've got to make some money off of your assets, don't you? And I think that's quite interesting. But then also, I think this is quite an interesting debate that we're having now about Jesse Lingard. And let's override it into the Marcus Rojo situation. It looks like he's also going to leave the club this month. But by the looks of things and from what Fabrizio tweeted, but also ESPN have come out and said that if there aren't any inconveniences, on February the 1st, Marcus Rojo is going to be released by Manchester United. He will then formally negotiate to join Boca Juniors, and Boca Juniors are already counting on Rojo becoming their first signing of their window, which is open for a little bit longer over in South America than compared to here in the UK. So we're talking about a minimal loan fee to ship out Jesse Lingard to get football, John. But then we're saying, well, actually, we failed to move on Marcus Rojo on 70 grand a week or whatever it is. Okay, let's just terminate his contract and let him go off on a free. So it's sort of conflicting.
It's conflicting. I think the problem's caused in the first place by the fact United's players are on such high wages. So we've had squad players, not even squad, fringe players who are on such high salaries that they've almost been forgotten about. I mean, when was the last time Marcus Rojo played for Man United? We've kind of forgotten that he's still at the club. And there's been a few players like that who are on such high wages. So that's part of the problem of being a club like Manchester United. You have to put these guys on high wages to get them in the first place. But when if you give them too longer contracts, you end up with players that are on the payroll and you can't get rid of them because other clubs can't afford to buy them. So I think Marcus Rojo, it'd be good for him to go. He definitely needs to play football as well. I mean, I can't remember when he last played a game. So I do feel sorry for these guys, but at the same time, I don't feel sorry for them because they're getting such high wages. And you also have to remember that there is a value to the football club by having these guys at the football club. It's not just the first team matches that we play. When we train, we need to have good players in training. Training is where a lot of the work is done. So I'm sure these guys are earning their money to a certain degree in the training sessions.
Yeah, Dale, what do you make? Just a quick reaction again off the back of what John said, Dale. I'll talk more about Rojo and Lingard's United careers in a second, but what do you make there of Lingard potentially, going off on a free?
Yeah, I think with these contracts running down and I've seen it with Phil Jones last summer and even before, there's no clubs coming in knocking on United's doors for these players. So I think it's inevitable that their contracts will run down and that they'll be moved on for free. I think that's when United, when they're asking for certain figures for players. I think a window or two ago, Everton were interested in Marcus Rojo and that move didn't go through. But you'd wonder how much United were asking for. And you'd wonder, sat in their position today, would they have taken that money? So that's a question for another day. And I suppose we could always nitpick at bits and bobs of the business, the way Manchester United are run. We'd all find a way of saving money somewhere and spend the money on better players because hindsight's a great thing. But you look back to Marcus Rojo and his acquisition, United signed him not knowing that he had a court case hanging over his head. And I think, to be honest, looking back at his whole time at Manchester United, they probably regret a lot of things. They regret probably signing him in the first place. So bad business from probably start to finish on his front.
And I think that if you're Manchester United now moving forward, you test your players on how they cook their toast, depending on how you sign them, because he also obliterates any type of toast that he cooks too, looking at his Instagram pictures. John looking at me there like, what the hell is he going on about? John clearly hasn't seen the pictures. Guys, thank you for watching United Daily, by the way. We're going to carry on. We're going to talk some more in a second, but just so you know, we're also on Spotify. Go and check us out in audio form. Maybe you've just jumped into the show on YouTube or Twitter. You can find us at youtube.com/All for United during lunchtime every day, Monday to Friday, doing this show with some great guests chatting about United and the biggest talking points. So check us out on Spotify, check us out on YouTube, and check us out on Twitter as well. John, let's chat a bit about Rojo there. Dale saying that, maybe the deal was a bit of disaster from start to finish. I remember when we signed Rojo and my excitement was like, yes, we've signed a bastard, a guy who's not afraid to fly into tackles, a guy who could be that destroyer that Nemanja Vidic was what once was. We're obsessed with comparing players when we sign new players, aren't we? Do you remember around the time when Rojo signed, and what have you made of his United career?
I think Rojo was a great signing for United at the time. I remember he did very well in the World Cup. He scored a fantastic goal, and we thought, what an exciting player, another Argentinian coming to United, and we've had a good record with these guys. And I think it's just the case of you change your managers and you change your philosophy, and he just hasn't been a man who's been on the radar for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think he was a mistake at the time. I think he was a good player for Manchester United, and he's done some good service for us. But he's just gone past his sell-by date, unfortunately. And I think if he got called into the squad for an emergency, if he had a lot of injuries, he would do well for us. And he's a good player. I think that's part of the problem when you're trying to get rid of a player who's been out of the first team for so long. People can't remember what he was like, and if you're not seeing him perform on a regular basis, you don't really know what he's up to at the moment. So it makes it harder when you combine that with the size of the wages that he's got. So. That's part of the problem. I mean, Ollie's done a fantastic job changing everything around, because you think of all the players he has already shipped out. It's immense. And we're getting down to the last few really now. And I don't think Marcus Rojo was a disappointment at all. I think he was a good player for us. I even remember him standing on the terraces. I know you don't call it terraces anymore, but I remember him being in there with the fans, and he very much identified as a Man United fan as well as a Man United player. And I think for the rest of his career, he'll always regard himself as a Man United fan. So I'm proud of the guy, and I think he's done well for us. I just think I'd like to see him get a nice move so he can start playing football again.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Dale, John hitting on there on the passion that Marcus Rojo had. We know the passion Jesse Lingard's got for this club. I mean, in some ways, we mentioned about the work they do off the pitch and in training. Do we also have to be careful in letting players like this go? Is there a chance that if you take too much love and passion for the club out of the squad, that identity could maybe get lost slightly? I'm clutching at straws here, but we've seen it before in the past. Passion is infectious. It's massively infectious within a squad, as is at the moment coronavirus, as we've seen with City. But do you see where I'm coming from? So Ollie's got to manage his players right in terms of when he ships them out, right?
I think it's probably the best move, because given Marcus Rojo's record with breaching laws in Argentina while he was on loan, the squad's probably a lot safer now, probably away from infections. He was an idiot on a number of occasions, and I believe that club got fed up with him. They wanted to terminate his loan deal, and I think the last year or so, he's just been an inconvenience. So Solskjaer's been keen to get him out of the club. Solskjaer's done a great job getting rid of some dead wood, getting rid of some players that many would consider bad eggs. And I think he smelt one with Rojo a while ago, and he's probably glad to be getting rid of him.
Just a quick question for both of you. Can anyone explain how these guys have been outlasted at Manchester United by Phil Jones? It is quite a feat, that I think Phil Jones just tends to get injured around transfer windows, and it sort of saves him, because United know he's not going to pass a medical at any other club.
I'd have a lot more time for Phil Jones than I would for Marcus Rojo, because I don't forget how when Phil Jones was coming through, and I know he's kind of on social media now with memes, and he's kind of a joking figure and stuff, but I don't really find all that funny, because coming through, he was a seriously promising player, and people forget that. He came through at Blackburn, signed for Manchester United for a big sum of money, and Fergie thought that he had a really good defender in him, and we all did.
Remember the words that Sir Alex said about Phil Jones when we first signed him?
The kiss of death for Phil Jones, sorry to jump in there, was when he compared him to Duncan Edwards. I mean, it's just that impossible to compare any player to Duncan Edwards, but Phil Jones, unfortunately, he's never been able to live that down, to be honest.
No. It's just, and I think the epitome of the problem too is that Ferguson was there with Small and Jones, and when he retired, and then you had this chopping and changing the managers. John, you kind of touched on it with Rojo and managers with different philosophies and ways. I think I look at those two. I look at Small and Jones as two players who really, really, really missed out as a result of that. Mm-hmm. You know, David Moyes came in. He didn't know what he wanted in defence, to be totally honest, and they weren't getting a look in. So I don't see it as a funny thing. I look back on it as Phil Jones as someone who he missed out, but I think United fans missed out on really, really much as well.
I agree with that. And we do know what David Moyes wanted. He wanted a Phil Jagielka in defence, if you listen to the videos that he was showing people. So it's one of those, I do agree. I think United, unfortunately, over this period that we've gone through, we had players within that squad that needed a couple of years to further develop, but unfortunately they're trying to further develop under too many managers who wanted too many different things from them, and it just didn't suit, and it's been really difficult. I think another prime example of that, and again this is a bigger conversation, but is Eric Bailly. When he joined United, people forget how much of a brilliant defender he was in La Liga, and some of the stuff we've seen from him is immense. And he's had a couple of injuries, he's gone for a couple of different managers, and he's you can see the quality when he plays, but he's never looked like that force that he was at Villarreal as such. So I think it's going to be interesting now that we've got some stability under Oli, how players like Eric Bailly sort of mount a challenge up against other central defenders, potentially new signings that we bring into the club. I think again players like Anthony Martial have a point to prove. Scott McTominay needs to come on, Fred, etc. So I think what's great about now is John said, we've got so much quality in and around the squad. We've also got players with slight question marks over their heads who have the chance to go and flourish under some stability, and I think stability is going to play a big part in where this squad goes next. John, did you want to say something on that?
Like to say, I'm a huge fan of Eric Bailly. I remember doing an interview with Graham Hunter, who's a Spanish-based journalist, about Eric Bailly, and he couldn't speak highly enough about Eric Bailly. In fact, I did a little video recently, which I recut on the YouTube channel, talking about Eric Bailly. And Eric Bailly is a monster. I think the reason that he's not being played every week at the moment is because he's had these injury problems. And I think Ollie's been very shrewd in the way that he's managing the squad. And he's given Eric enough games now that he can come in at any time. But I'm confident and I'm optimistic at the same time that Eric Bailly is going to be a huge star for Manchester United. I think he's the big reason why United are probably not going to go all out to try and sign a defender in this transfer market, because he is a beast. And I prefer to see him playing along Harry Maguire, because he's the guy. We have a need for speed, and Eric Bailly is that guy who's got the speed, and he makes Harry Maguire look a lot better player as well, because he gives him that insurance when Harry's bombing forward and Eric can get back. And I think Eric Bailly is going to be potentially a cult hero for Manchester United if he can get enough game time. And I think he's going to get quite a few games this season, because we're having one of those seasons, as we all know, where it's so congested. And I think that's another thing that people are overlooking with Ollie, the way he's managing. When Leicester won the title, their manager was called the Tinkerman. I mean, Ollie's not exactly the Tinkerman, but I think he's juggling his squad quite well. And I think Eric Bailly is potentially going to be a hugely important player for United.
Yeah, I think he's the only manager in the league right now. I don't know if anyone can correct me on this, but the only manager, United are the only team who haven't played the same starting 11 in back-to-back games so far this season. We haven't done that yet, which I think is quite... Dale's like, I'm going to research that one and double check that. I'm pretty sure I saw that the other day. But also, again, back to your point on Eric Bailly, and I'm going to throw this out there. I have been very vocal in the fact that I don't think some of the potential transfer targets that fans are talking about when it comes to centre-backs are the right ones. For instance, Upamecano is one that keeps getting mentioned. Again, I'll throw this out there. I'd rather see a fully fit, but it's a massive question. It's a massive if you can keep him fully fit. I would rather see a fit Eric Bailly next to Maguire than I would Upamecano personally. That's just my personal thoughts on that situation. Dale, we've spoken a little bit about centre backs here. I don't know if you want to pitch in on that.
Yeah, look, from what I've seen of Eric Bailly this season coming in, I never doubted his ability. We've seen in his first season what he could bring to the table, especially in that Europa League campaign, which he went on to win without him in defence. But look, his ability has never been under question. It's been a matter of him making tackles that he doesn't need to make and then getting injured, which we've seen time and time again. Whether he get a good run in the team, which we're now seeing now. I think that Manchester United are being spoke about as title contenders if we are to compete this season and consistently between now to the end of the season. That will have a lot to do with Eric Bailly staying fit. because I don't trust a defence with Lindelof and Harry Maguire. I don't care how good Lindelof was against Liverpool. I won't be convinced otherwise that I will be confident seeing the two of them partnering his defence between now and the end of the season. It's got to be Eric Bailly thrown in the mix, because he's what makes that defence the difference between it defending well and looking defensively solid. He makes moves in defence quicker than anyone else. For instance, he can step out. Lindelof is too slow. Lindelof doesn't want to come in and commit for headers in the air. Bailly will do all of that and much more. It's just a matter of keeping him fit.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that, and it'd be interesting to see if we can do so, and if maybe even having a Harry Maguire next to him, who is just filled with footballing intelligence. His football IQ is one of his best attributes, Harry Maguire. Whether he can help improve Eric Bailly's decision making, although the times we've seen them together, and I go back to the semi-final of the FA Cup against Chelsea, you see Harry Maguire storm into Bailly, he goes off injured, and there we go. There's a problem straight away. So we'll wait and see. Lots to chat about Tuanzebe, but I want to move on, guys, from the centre back chat because we slightly went off course there. We're discussing Manchester United transfer news again. If you're on Spotify, subscribe to the All for United channel. If you're not on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/All for United, you can catch United Daily live over there at lunchtime, Monday to Friday. John, let me come over to you quickly. The whispers are that United will not be looking for replacements in this window. It doesn't look like at this moment we're going to make any signings for January. Obviously, we've seen Diallo come in to strengthen the squad further if we do let Lingard go. But are you worried about maybe our centre-back options? Obviously Phil Jones doesn't look like he's going to play for United. Tuanzebe's in and out, Bay's in and out, Lindelof's in and out. Do you think potentially we need someone this window to strengthen up our defence?
Personally, I don't think we need to sign anybody in this transfer window. I don't think we are going to sign anybody else in this transfer window. We've obviously got Diallo, who's possibly going to get a few games this season. He's very exciting, but defensively, yes, we have got a problem if we get some injuries, but so have any club. I mean, look at Liverpool. They've coped with injuries at the back by shuffling players around, and we've got players we can shuffle around. I mean, Scott McTominay could move back if we really need him to. And I think another thing that we should mention, which hasn't been talked about, is the behind the scenes with the fitness coaches. I mean, a very good friend of mine is Mick Clegg, and he was brought in by Ollie, who's restructured everything, not just the first team squad. He's behind the scenes as well. And I think you'll see United's players getting stronger and fitter as certainly we've seen this season. I mean, how many injuries have United had this season? Not very many compared to our rivals. And I think that's a key factor. And I think I feel quietly confident that with the help and the maturity that Eric Bailly is getting now, he's been around at United for a while. He's not going to say, I see the ball, I get the ball all the time. He's going to think a little bit more. And I think also he's having his fitness being built up in the background. So I feel more confident about Eric Bailly this season, and also got Axel Tuanzebe, who I think is never going to let us down when he gets a chance. And I do think we've got enough players. I don't think we need to worry so much. If we did get a big defensive signing, it wouldn't do any harm to compete with the players that we've already got. I mean, we've got great competition in every part of the pitch now, from goalkeeper right straight to the front three. And people keep telling us that we need another defender, but we kept a clean sheet at Anfield last Sunday, or Sunday before, and we're doing okay. I think also the best form of defence is attack, and I just want to see United attack and score more goals. I think we should focus more on scoring goals rather than to stop them.
Yeah, and I think we did against Liverpool. I thought we saw a Manchester United where the defence stood about 3 or 4 yards further up. I reflect back to the piece that Gary Neville done after the 0-0 at Anfield, where he says where this United team goes next is they need to step up 2 or 3 yards. That defensive line needs to step up. And I think we did. And I really do feel in that first half, apart from, and that's where their first goal sort of came from, that slight disruption within the defence and their goal. But let's not talk against the fact that Liverpool, with their first goal, it was clinical. It was quality. It just was. They got every part of that move spot on. I feel like we did, and we really challenged Liverpool at the weekend, which was exciting to see. I just want to help something that you said there about fitness, and I go back to Ollie, what he said after that drumming to Everton. I want to have the fittest team, the hardest working team in the league, and you can sort of see it. But also, I loved a quote, Dale, from Bruno Fernandes the other day. Did you see it? Where he said, "I don't tire whilst I'm 26 years old. If I'm tiring now after back-to-back games, Lord knows what I'm going to be like when I'm 32. I just want to play. I feel fit. It's great that we've got competition there within the squad of players, who are fit, they're raring to go, they're ready to play the next game, and they don't care about the current congestion. Maybe ties into why we might not be looking to add to the squad this month now after Diallo.
Well, I think what Bruno says there sends a warning out to all his teammates as well about any players are going to get some complacency, let that creep in the coming weeks. We can't allow that. We need to remain hungry. Every player should be wanting to play every minute of this. For years, Manchester United have underachieved. We've been mid-table at times like this, and it's just not good enough. We're finally now in the mix, and I think every player, if there's anyone that doesn't want to be playing, there's something seriously wrong there. I think Solskjaer's made the squad very, very competitive. You look at the options there for midfield, even talk about Scott McTominay and Fred. They discovered roles within the team. Now they have roles. And these are all players that under Jose Mourinho were just part of a squad. We didn't know what way we were heading. And I think in the last 2 years, as fans, we've a lot more idea what way the squad is heading. We're talking about Jesse Lingard now today, and I think we're all putting our hands up saying that, yes, time for him to move on. We've moved on. And there's still people out there, Ben, that you'll see on social media who'll be negative to this. They'll be thinking, oh, Manchester United are not spending a transfer window. We should always be spending. We should always be improving.
We should get more money for players. We should get X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I look at what we have right now, and I wouldn't add to it. I wouldn't add to it. What we have right now is fine, and we're very happy to be in this position. If we can improve again next season and go all the way to win the league and with some more quality additions, great. But right now in January, you're not going to get those players, and trust me, players like Bruno Fernandes, January signings, they don't happen very often. We all know that.
Yeah, they're really tough to come by. Just quickly, Dale, just want to hit one more really, really quick point. Obviously, Straight News, you do some amazing things over there. Podcasts, articles, you're absolutely killing it. How you find the time in the day alongside your day job as well. I do not have an absolute clue, but you're doing some fantastic work, Dale. And we spoke in the summer about having articles ready because we were all convinced that Jadon Sancho was about to sign for Manchester United. It looked like all the boxes were ticked. Everyone thought it was going to happen. Well, I don't know if you've seen the reports this morning, Dale. I know you're all over this, and Sport 1 have come out and said that Dortmund are firmly expecting Sancho to leave the club this summer, with United going back in for him. Are you expecting the next couple of months again and this summer to be Sancho central?
I don't think it will be so bigged up like last summer where it's Sancho central.
It's catching on. The stutter's catching on.
Yeah, it's carrying on. But I think Manchester United are in a different position now than they were. They don't need to be as desperate to sign Sancho. They can go into the market and find the right winger that they want. They should have 2 years now of scouting to come up with the best solution. I think last year there was a lot of money going to be thrown around with Sancho because of his maybe commercial value and how many likes and so on Instagram he can bring. But I think what Solskjaer has done since he's come in is he's bought the right players. And I'd be hoping after 2 years that when he goes into the summer market and he goes to find that right winger, that Diallo could surprise us too between now and the end of the season. But when Solskjaer does sign that player, I've more faith in him that he'll pick the right one. That might not be Sancho. And I don't look forward to the sagas that are like circus like. I just want the right players. Bruno Fernandes wasn't the glamour signing either. There was a number of clubs that looked at him, Spurs that were linked, and no one was signing him. We eventually landed on a lucky draw and got a fantastic player. So it's all about team chemistry and buying the right player that'll fit what we already have. And I look at Sancho, and there's another player at Borussia Dortmund that I'd be jumping at first.
Is that a Haaland or a Reina?
Haaland, 100%.
It's interesting to hear from some of the comments. Sorry, guys, we haven't been so proactive. I've been so immersed in this conversation with John and Dale. They've both been brilliant. We've got to scoot off really, really quickly, John. I'm going to come over to you with a final question. The Kerno Devil here says the Sancho deal will be done early summer. He believes all the boxes ticked already. It'd just be resumption of the payment plan. I actually think that this deal needs to be done way before the summer because I'm convinced if he's to join United, we're going to have to bat off competitors. And I genuinely think that one of Mane or Salah, potentially Firmino, are going to leave Liverpool this summer. And I think that they will be in for Sancho. So if United want that deal done, they have to get it done early. I'm with Dale. I don't want the circus. I want them to just go about the business and get the player that Ollie wants. John, you supported United for a number of years. You've seen a number of transfer windows even before this social media circus. But are you geared up for another Sancho summer this year? And what are your thoughts on it all?
My thoughts on it, I don't really want to hear about Sancho at all, to be honest. I trust Ollie. He'll do whatever's right for Manchester United. I think there's been a massive shift in the philosophy at United in the transfer market now. We're building for the future, and that's the most exciting thing for me with players like Pellistri and Diallo. We don't need Sancho. I mean, we're building for long term. We're not just building short term. That's the mistake that Chelsea have made by getting rid of Lampard. They're looking short term. Ollie has always said from the beginning he wants United to win trophies, and he's looking long term. He almost sacrificed his own career on the basis that he wanted to build a squad for the future. I'm more excited by the players that we're bringing in who are going to be developed by United and become great players, because I think that's what we're focused on. I think it's been a very shrewd sort of change of dynamic at United, where rather than go out and spend ridiculous money, because it was ridiculous money for Sancho, I think Sancho has missed his chance potentially of joining Man United. I'd say it that way. Not United have missed a chance with Sancho. Sancho's missed his chance to join the greatest football club on the planet. And we're building big time. We're going to have a new era of, I think I'm really confident. I've always been the optimist. I think we're going to smash everything out of sight. We're going to build a new squad that's going to be better than anybody else's in the Premier League. And that's what excites me. We're getting young players that we're going to develop who are going to be the next big players. So I'd look at it from that point of view.
Guys, this has been a fantastic discussion. Thank you, John. Thank you, Dale. Guys, go and check out these guys online. Make sure you go and check out Stretty News as well. Make sure you go and check out some of the fantastic work that John is doing at Man United of Religion too. It's a fantastic channel, and he does some fantastic content over there. Guys, keep it all for United. Subscribe. United Daily will be back tomorrow with Rodri Giggs. We're going to talk on the lead up to obviously the Sheffield United game. John, Dale, we're going to have to get you back to discuss our title chances this year as and when we get through the next couple of weeks, of course. Guys, hit subscribe on the channel. Plenty of chances for you to win thanks to Football Town apparel is up for grabs. Subscribe to the channel, get over to Spotify and check us out there. We're going to be out of here now. Have a brilliant rest of your day. Take it easy, and we will speak to you soon. Ciao for now.